Okay, here we are. Teal Shirt Report podcast. And it's already August 31st. Big weekend of college football. I've got the monitor on. Penn State nothing, Virginia nothing first quarter. Georgia getting underway with Clemson. We'll try to get a score on that one. Florida Gators hosting at Florida Field against the Miami of Florida Hurricanes. Last I checked, Miami was, in most circles, they were somewhere between a 2 or 3 point favorite. I mean, I can check that again, but last time I checked it was either 2 or 3 points. The Miami of Florida Hurricanes favored in Gainesville. That's dangerous. I mean, you could say what you want about the Gators. Miami got beat by Georgia Tech last year because Miami could not run the clock out. We will find out in 2024, Coach Billy Napier, what kind of coach he potentially can be. It's his third year in Florida. He's coming off of 5-7. Year 2? This is year 3 for Napier. This is, in the old days, they'd give the coaches 4 years. This year, the third year, it may be the charm. I'm pulling for the Gators, man. If Napier can keep winning, he can keep staying, right? But he hasn't really started with it yet. We'll see what happens against Miami. I got to say, for Billy Napier and the Gators, this is a must-win in the swamp. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Jacksonville Jaguars, on this Teal Shirt Report podcast, we talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars commentary, SEC football, North Florida entertainment. I had some of my correspondents, John Gaylor and a few other people, were sending me the Jaguars cuts. Penn State, West Virginia, still nothing quarter. And we're recording this on Saturday, August 31st. Gators plan to record the 3:30 later this afternoon, and we'll be around. We're going to be around here at the Teal Shirt Report podcast. West Virginia's trying to push it over the goal line. Don't think they got it. Penn State pushed them back there first quarter. Looks like no score. I'll try to pay attention to this one. Also, the cuts for the Jaguars. The big roster they had to get down to, just it seems like a few hours ago or a couple of days ago. They keep changing. It looks like the officials are trying to line up for a measurement here. How about those apples? Football's down, and it looks like they're I'm going to say 5 inches short. It's 3 to 5 inches short. Man, how about that? So I think that must have been a 4th down play, because now West Virginia's coming off the field. Okay. Wow, Penn State stuffed it. What a ball game. No score, late first quarter. Penn State and the West Virginia Mountaineers. Had the coffee mug on the wrong side there. We're liable to do anything on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. The cuts, when they first came out, and to me, this was actually a few days ago. Jaguars cut a bunch of guys I'm not even that familiar with. Sean Bowman, they cut him. Cornerback Christian Braswell seemed to be a guy that was doing some things. Gary Brightwell played well in the preseason, but got waived. You can't keep with so many. Joshua Campus, wide receiver, got cut. DJ Coleman, defensive end. Elijah Cooks, who scored a touchdown. I remember one of the preseason games, I believe it was the last one against Atlanta. Trevor Lawrence threw a couple of touchdown passes to, I almost said Bo Cephas. I don't know why I'm thinking about Bo Cephas. That's Hank Williams Jr., right? Evan Ingram, the tight end for the Jaguars, caught 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. And at that point, Trevor Lawrence was tuned up. He was, he got that practice in, and man, he was tuned up, ready to go for the openers down in Miami. Elijah Cooks caught a touchdown pass from Mac Jones later in the game after Trevor went out, after playing, a good bit of the first quarter. Cornerback Eric Hallett was cut. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. Jalen Jackson, running back, didn't really know him much. Stephen Jones waived. Steve Jones waived. EJ Perry, this guy's, man, he's been like signed by the Jaguars maybe as many as 3 or 4 times over the past 2 years, and he's been released or waived. He got waived this time. Then we understand he ended up on the practice squad and got released again. EJ Perry, quarterback, got waived. Josh Proctor got waived. Austin Trammell had a game where I think he caught 4 passes. Game before the last season game. It must have been the Tampa Bay game. He caught 4 passes, but now he's out. I haven't checked the practice squad completely yet, but the practice squad was changing. I think EJ Perry was on it, and then he was on it. So we'll try to find the practice squad here sooner or later. Darrell Williams, offensive lineman, was waived. Patrick Murtaugh was waived. He was also injured, tight end, but he was waived. Released, not subject to waivers, released Adrian Amos, Josiah Dugars, tight end, safety Terrell Edmonds. I'm not really as familiar. They were playing late in games in the preseason, I think. One guy that I hate to see go, defensive end Joe Gaziano. I kind of liked him. He had a high number. What was he wearing, 97 or something? And I saw him get a hold of the back a couple of games ago in the preseason. He looked like a tough guy. He'll probably end up somewhere. Wow, Blake Hance got released. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, Jaguars were having trouble at guard. A lot of trouble at guard. Blake Hance, he kind of took one for the team there. He got released. He may end up somewhere else. Linebacker Tanner Mew, cornerback Amani Aruwari. Tyler Shatley. Now, this is the biggest name of the guys that got released. He had like a 10-year run in Jacksonville. Been with the Jaguars 9 or 10 years. I remember when Dave Cotwell kept him on the 53-man roster because he was worried about losing him. Otherwise, he might not have ended up on the 53. But I think the first year the Jaguars ever signed this guy, he was actually, I believe Tyler Shatley was originally an undrafted free agent. We'll double check that, but he's now. He had a great 9 or 10 year career with Jacksonville. He did announce before the season started that this would be his last year. Also released via injury settlement, C.J. Beathard may have played his last football with the Jaguars. Each absolutely a vicious hit, and I believe it was the Tampa Bay preseason game number 2. He took the seat in, I think, a few plays after that, and then had to go out and could not continue. Mac Jones won the backup job, as everybody knows. So that's some of what's been going on with the Jaguars. Those are the original players that were cut, waived, etc. Practice squad. I think we need to get an updated practice squad. Maybe I can find one real quick as we're talking about this on August 31st. Florida Gators will play today. Jaguars, on past podcast episodes, and bear in mind, if you're listening to us on the audio, we're trying to get stuff moved over to the audio as quick as we can. And we've got a lot of listeners. I'm going to tell my executive producer this, JC. I flipped over to Anchor / which is now Spotify, and JC, the listeners are building up. We've gotten a lot of listeners on the podcast, the audio version. YouTube is starting to pick up. Please, if you watch us, listen to us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. We just kind of got underway with YouTube here, a few days back or a few weeks back, and so please check it out. Maybe I can find an updated rendition of the practice squad 2024. practice squad. First game for the Jaguars is going to be down in Miami against the Dolphins. And there's not going to be any of this blowout city, I don't think, like we've seen in the preseason. And again, the Falcons. I mean, if they're not playing their players, they're not tuning up their players. Like the Jaguars were tuning up Trevor Lawrence. He threw 2 touchdown passes to Devin Ingram in the last preseason game where the Jaguars just basically smoked or whipped the Falcons 31-0 up in Atlanta in front of the Atlanta fans. And they say the Falcons are not playing any of their first stringers. I mean, don't the Falcons need some work? Apparently, Coach Doug Peterson thought the Jaguars' first stringers needed some work, and they were out there, the majority of them, unless it was an injury issue. I think the Jaguars came out of the preseason, particularly the last game, with little or no injuries. C.J. Beathard had a bad growing injury, I think, against Tampa Bay. Penn State completes a long pass down the field. They're going to score. Game's already in the second quarter. Penn State got a touchdown. Harrison Wallace, the third, scored a touchdown, and they're doing little dances in the end zone, and Penn State jumps out 6-0 on top of West Virginia. My executive producer, JC, I saw on Fox they had MTK singing during the pregame festivities. They were singing Country Road, and they're in Mountaineer territory singing Country Road. You know the song. You know what they do. I think that group's called MTK. I'm not as familiar with MJC. I know you know all about the newfangled music groups. And I checked them out. They weren't bad. I couldn't tell much about what type of group they were. They just came out and started playing. Penn State goes for 2 points and misses it. Why did they go for 2? That's crazy. Penn State 6, West Virginia nothing. That could come back to haunt Penn State later on, perhaps. Georgia playing Clemson. I don't have a Georgia score yet, but man, we're going to try to figure out how to do this thing live. Probably going to have some live views. We come on. Hey, we're absolutely live from the Cobblestone World Headquarters, as I call it now, at the new location right here in Riverside, the Riverside area of Jacksonville, Florida. Clemson, Georgia score today in this college football season 2024. Let's see what's going on. The Georgia-Clemson game's been going on for a few minutes here. They should be late in the first quarter. Let's see if I can get an update on the game. Clemson, I picked Georgia to win. I picked Florida to win 27-17 over Miami. You can have egg end up on your face in some of these games. Listen to this now. They got a battle. Georgia's got the ball at the end of the first quarter. It is 0-0. Georgia and Clemson moving into the second quarter, 0-0. And all of a sudden, there's some low-scoring games that are kind of taking place out there. So, I've got some stuff on the ticker. We wanted to review because Florida State opened their season last Saturday, back on August 24th. Florida State lost to Georgia Tech. It surprised some people. Florida State may have been ranked a little higher than they should have. Some polls had them as high as 10th. Georgia Tech 24, FSU 21. A final on Saturday, August 24th of 2024. We got that on the ticker. We'll be changing the ticker to today as well. Also on the same day, August 24th, BayMU beat Norfolk State 24-20. Hawaii 35, Delaware State 14. A final score. Those are just a few scores from back on August 24th. And I believe that was the first week of college football. I watched the game on Thursday night. North Carolina battled Minnesota. It came down to, last-minute field goals. Looked like there was some quarterback play a little poor early in the game. And North Carolina won that game 19-17. They connected on a field goal with 2 or 3 minutes to go in the game. And then Minnesota had a shot at a field goal even later in the fourth quarter. And I think it was a left-footed kicker for Minnesota. Just had it high enough and long enough. It went just atop the goalpost wide, a little bit to the right. And North Carolina beat Minnesota. North Carolina from the ACC still, 19. North Carolina Tar Heels, 19. The Minnesota Golden Gophers, 17. From the almighty Big Ten. We'll mainly talk SEC. And we'll be back. But we're going to have content galore. And the plan is to have some interviews. We haven't really gotten to the interviews yet. We got people out there that are talking to people about interviews with us, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Penn State's kicking off. This is considered the first Saturday in college football, although there were games last week. There was a game Thursday night in which North Carolina beat Minnesota. North Carolina 19, the Minnesota Golden Gophers 17. West Virginia is returning Penn State's kickoff. But Penn State's got a 6-0 lead early in the second quarter over West Virginia. You're tuned into the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Right here on this podcast, we're going to update you on the Jacksonville Jaguars, give you our Jacksonville Jaguars commentary, North Florida entertainment, the SEC, college football. We'll have all that for you. When we finish one episode, we'll come back with another one soon. We're also trying to work this thing where we can do some live streams. That's probably going to be next up when we get that figured out. Thank you for tuning in to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. My name is Scott. I'm looking at Penn State leading West Virginia 6-0. That's kind of where we are in time, August 31st. West Virginia just completed a pass to the tight end, and somebody hit the ball. It's an incomplete pass. Okay. Special thanks to our producers, executive producer JC, also Alex Nunnery, our correspondent and contributor John Gaylor. John, always thank you for all you do with BigJReport.com, the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Now, we are absolutely on YouTube. This will wrap it up this time around. This actually is, we're going to call this one. Are we still on episode show 48? I believe we are. Episode show 48. This would be epic because we've had like 348s, I think. And we just got them out there today on YouTube. And we're getting the audio out there out there on the platforms. There's going to be a lot of content coming. There's more out there now, and there's more coming from the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check us out at BigJReport.com. Teal Shirt Report podcast. And special thanks to our executive producer JC, also another producer Alex Nunnery, and again our contributor correspondent Mr. John Gaylor. Thanks to our sponsors, Saucer Realty and Capital for your real estate needs in North Florida. There's a link to Saucer Realty and Capital on our website, and Mad Max Mix on Weebly.com Wednesday night show. I talked to Max at length on Saturday. Max told me they had one of the busiest shows they ever had last Wednesday, and I'll be darned if I didn't miss it. We got tied up with some family and personal stuff, and I'll be back with Max on the next Wednesday. Man, his show is going full guns. Man, you can hear ARS, Steely Dan, many other groups. Max is playing John Lennon, many groups. Check him out. And Leonard Skinner, of course. That big catalog of Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, many others. But what I was going to tell you is Mad Max's show is really, it's exploding in popularity. I'll say that to madmaxmix.weebly.com here at Wednesday nights, 6 to 8 Central, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday nights. And don't forget about our good friend and our executive producer, JC. JC's live from the pub at LakeUfallahits.com. Great internet radio where it's all good. Lake Eufaula Hits and JC live from the pub on Thursday nights, getting underway at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. Great internet radio, whether it's Lake Eufaula Hits, the MadMaxMix.weebly.com. And for your real estate needs, if you want to get the most out of your home, if you're selling, you really want to get more than you might otherwise with another real estate agent, make sure you contact Saucer Realty and Capital. And his link is obviously on our homepage at BigJReport.com. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back. We got more content, more episodes coming up. Thank you for listening. Really, the first true week of college football This podcast, we're recording it on August 31st. You guys have a great day, okay? Thank you for listening and watching.